is poppin' squad? It is your boy, and today we got ourselves a Blood God Necro build. Now, I know everybody's been playing Diablo, and everybody's been kind of getting their own builds going. Most people have been leaning towards Bone Spear and Infinimist, but I believe this is probably the best um, for me overall for pushing Nightmare Dungeons. It doesn't have the single target damage that Bone Spear has, and it doesn't, and Menlin, but it has some crazy burst potential, same as Infinimist, except it just has crazy tankiness and some crazy overall gameplay loops. That's really fun to play. So I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. We're gonna get into the build just so you guys can see it real quick. So start off, obviously, most people know right when you're running the helmet, chest, and pants, you really want to go survivability. I don't have a max imprint, but it doesn't matter because the way the build works. You want to kind of try to go for maximum life, decrepify, total armor. Maximum essence is eh. I mean, you could have it on here. I don't really feel the difference. Like I've tried different versions of it, but it's still good to have if you want to spam. But since you're spamming like machine gun bloodland, so um, I would probably take lucky hit with barrier here, just to get more huge fresh procs and all my lucky hit chance, especially for like primary resource and stuff. But maximum essence is pretty good. You want to make sure you have red gems and everything too. By the way, going down to the chest, I have damage with blood orb, damage reduction from close enemies, shadow damage, which is kind of useless. I probably have total armor here that I'm gonna roll soon. I haven't really messed with it yet, but for sure I'm probably gonna roll total armor on that. And you want to have max life. Like I said, max life is going to be the bread and butter of the build. Now here we get to an interchangeable part. So I have two fists. This one I got from a rogue, so I just want to see if I can abuse attack speed. So you see right here, overpower damage, of course, all stats. I'd rather have right there primary resource regen on lucky hit, but I just got these from a rogue. I have 19.5% attack speed after dodging, as well as base attack speed. So you can only get this glove from a rogue. I'm kind of just testing it out, but the mid-max version will probably look something like this. So you want to have lucky hit chance, attack speed, primary resource regen, and overpower damage. Also, with each cast of Blood Lance, will launch an additional Blood Lance at a nearby enemy. When it first hits enemy that's already Lance, dealing 40% or 47% of normal damage. We don't really care about the damage. We just care about spreading the Blood Lance because it has a cool kind of mechanic. I don't know if it's intended or not, but it basically overpowers all the enemies that have lances in them. So you use this to spread it. Going down to the pants, this is another one I'm kind of testing. In the gameplay footage, you've seen both of them. Temerity got a recent buff that's really good. I want to see if I can feel the difference having a barrier uptime on Temerity versus having just base pants like this, just for straight damage reduction. Obviously, if I switch to Temerity, I lose the basic skills, grant 20% damage reduction, as well as all other damage reduction modifiers in exchange for a barrier. I've been having more success with the barrier only because you can pre-pop pretty much whenever you want, and you can start this every fight off with this barrier, and the barrier actually goes pretty high in comparison. Now, for all the number crunchers, you can see if the damage reduction is worth having the barrier. I think it is, because my effective health, you see, it just goes up to the roof. So right here I have 18,000 on my barrier. I've gotten it as high as 22k with different rolls, but I think the way I have it right now is really good because you have to get past that barrier, that fortify, and that life. So it's really good. I think Temerity is probably going to be probably the best in slot for this build, because you get healing received, and obviously you get the chance to heal if you're in a high lucky hit. That's a lot of uptime with your barrier, on top of the fact that you're getting heals from blood orbs. Went down to my boots. I have 42% damage reduction while injured. Super slept on. I don't know why a lot of people don't run that, especially in a build where you're running a lot of health. Having this damage reduction while injured is important because for me, pretty much I'm running 24 base health on this version. I've gotten it as high as 30k, but I've made some swaps that made more sense, and 24 is more of a speed spot. For sure, that's about, like, I would say that's about 90% of the reason that I survive in nightmares is because when I get to injured status, I have so much health in my reserve that I pretty much just live. Like, they can't burst it fast enough most of the time, because I'm constantly healing with blood orbs. If I get to a position where I am injured it like holds it off long enough for me to get those heals back. And also remember, being that I have a high health pool, my injury health pool is a lot higher than most. So definitely you want to make sure that you invest in that correctly. When I had the 30k version, that's basically 10k health I had. That was basically fortified on top of the damage reduction while injured. So super important. Essence cost reduction, no brainer. Obviously, this is a high octane use of resources because you're spamming Bloodlance. It's pretty much a one click hold. You want to have that, and movement speed is always really good to have. Now, with the imprint, right now I was kind of testing having Iron Maiden just to have some extra CC. It's working out pretty good. You have a couple options you can have here. You can have the Unstoppable, where you do more damage to unstoppable enemies. You can have the movement speed faster when you're next to solo enemies if you're having movement speed issues. But I think having the extra CC is good here because I don't need really survivability, and I'm not really focused on movement speed. I kind of have it on my boots and I kind of rock with it since you're standing still when you're attacking anyway. So yeah, going down to my wand. I prefer a wand on the Bloodlance, only because you get the lucky hit chance. 15%. That's an amazing roll to have. I know some people like the health on kill with the scythe and stuff, but I think it works the best with the wand, only because there's so many different lucky hit type things. Like you see right here, lucky hit for primary resource. You have the huge fesh. You have a bunch of things that run off lucky hit that you kind of want to abuse, that you're able to get it as high as what the sorcerers pretty much have. So I definitely would say that run a wand. And on top of that, it's a very fast weapon, so you can get some attack speed out of it as well. So I have all stats: damage to stun, damage to distant, and overpowered damage. Best in slot will probably be vulnerable damage. I'm not sure if you can get it on the wand or not, but vulnerable damage and preferably willpower, just to put towards your overpowered damage. But I don't think you can roll that on a wand either. So with a wand, I'd probably just take all stats and overpowered damage. The rest of them don't really matter as much. And on my imprint, casting Blood Lance will consume blood orbs that also conjure lances from them. Each additional Blood Lance deals 50% of normal damage to targeting unlanced enemies. Now, you can run this from the codex. You don't really need god rolls on these imprints because you're using it for the mechanics, not for the damage. Your damage all comes from overpowered, and the rest of this doesn't really matter. So the whole premise of this is probably the most important thing on the build, because you're able to pick up blood orbs without being near them. So you can pretty much stay at a distance, pick up blood orbs, which heal you, which feed into your temerity, which also obviously stack up more damage for the long term with your overpowered. It's also spreading lances onto more enemies to make that sweep overpower effect work. So really good. Going into my amulet, 3 ranks of tides of blood, obviously because the multiplicative damage for overpowered. You want to have damage reduction, essence cost reduction is really good. Base damage is not bad. I'd probably have cooldown reduction there. Not that I necessarily need it as much, but the only other thing I'd probably put there is probably cooldown reduction. And my imprint is whenever your blood skills overpower, you gain 71% attack speed. The reason I opted to put this here because attack speed is everything with this build, because it does run on an overpower loop. Obviously, you have your 12-second loop that's just given with your passive perk, but a Blood Lance, one of the choices is every 6 Blood Lances gives you a free overpower. So obviously with this crazy huge amount of attack speed, you'll be able to spawn those 6 Lances super quick. So it almost feels like you're always overpowering, which is huge with this build, obviously. So you can kind of see the concept where it's going. And of course, best in slot on orange. Walking near a corpse automatically activates and equips core skill every second, dealing 30% reduced damage. We don't really care about the damage, we just care about the fact that it pops it without us doing anything, so autopilot. Going down to my ring. Now this is where it gets pretty much, I think this is the hardest thing to get on the build, is trying to get good rings, because it is very specific. You really need max life, overpower damage, and lucky hit chance. Your 4th doesn't really matter as much. It could be essence, it could be pretty much a lot of things. Obviously blood orb healing's not bad either, because once again that feeds into temerity, that's extra survivability, believe it or not. But yeah, you want to definitely get max life, overpower damage, and lucky hit chance no matter what, by all means. On my imprint, once again, this is another test. You have 2 choices here. If you feel like you're having essence regeneration issues, You can run the crowd control to get essence back. You run the vulnerable to get essence back. I'm okay with my essence. I'm okay with sometimes depleting and having to re up because I'm so tanky. I have the time to do so. I rather just when I'm attacking, it's at its best potential. So I have critical strikes where core skills increase your attack speed by another additional 23%. So obviously, once I crit and proc my overpower, almost at 100% up damage. Attack speed on my build. So you can see where the lances throw out twice as fast. It's actually pretty nuts. Going down to my other band, once again, lucky hit chance, maximum life, overpower damage, and I got resource generation on this one. This is probably in my opinion, the God rule version if you can get. If you get lucky, man, because it is hard because you want to find one that's able to do it. So, it's a perfect example. So as I come here, middle of the build, they all spawn, but it doesn't matter. So going back down to the shield, right here I have lucky hit chance, max life, damage reduction to close enemies, and primary resource. So this is as god roll as it can get as far as rolls on the build for the shield. A lot of people don't understand how powerful this one affix is right here. This up to 5% chance to restore 12% primary resource. In the middle of a fight, bro, that goes up a lot. It doesn't feel like it sometimes, but we don't realize it, but it definitely does. And on my imprint, no brainer, consuming a corpse has a 30% chance to spawn a blood orb. It's cool because the shield allows you to scale better off of your primary, as well as you get block damage reduction, and on top of that you get another defensive gem as well as defensive imprint. And in this case I was able to put the consuming the corpse has a chance to spawn a blood orb, which gives us more blood orb uptime, obviously, since we're popping corpse explosion automatically anyways, and also another 4% max life, so definitely helps out. So going to the Book of the Dead, I opt to go for non-physical resistance, as much resistance possible. So you can go for crit if you want. I prefer more tankiness because it does enough damage, and I don't really worry about crit as much. Overpower damage, no brainer. This skeletal mages on the blood, you have to run bone. It's like just sacrifice it. Like, don't even ask no questions about that. It's no brainer. 50% multiplicative overpower damage. Going down to golems, this is where you can switch off between two as well. As you guys have noticed with my setup, I love attack speed, so I have to go for attack speed, but I can easily switch to here and gain a big chunk of health. I don't think we need as much health. I'm so stacked on it anyways, that doesn't really hurt me as much, so I have to go for that 12% attack speed. And obviously it could be a little higher, so you were going to ask. It's because I have the sacrifice bonus aspect. That's what makes it seem higher than what it probably normally is on your screen if you don't have it on, so just so you know. Going into abilities, I'll keep this short and sweet. We're in Hemorrhage, Blood Lance, stacking up. Obviously, I'm perfectly balanced and unlimited energy. Heat Flesh, easy call. We're going to go for Blood Mist, Corpse Explosion, Grim Harvest. I don't really care too much what I feel by death. Damage is not an issue, but the essence is. We're going to get us an Iron Maiden, get us to Crepify, get us to Amplify Damage, Death's Embrace. Max out all your bloods if you can, besides the transfusion. You're not using minions. Corpse Tendrils, I put one into Crippling Darkness just for extra CC because we are using the Corpse Explosion that goes into darkness that allows us to get some free CC chain, especially when we have them all over the map. Going down, you want a Standalone, Memento Mori. You want an Inspiring Leader for extra attack speed. You guys are obviously, I had to grab attack speed. And obviously Wrathman's Vigor, so that you get that 10% maximum life, as well as that free overpower every 12 seconds. I usually try to use this on my Blood Mist since I'm getting it for free on my Lance. Anytime I see that 12 seconds, I just plot Blood Mist because it does some crazy damage when you do it. So yeah, it's pretty good. So going to the Paragon board, everybody's is going to be different. I'm going to kind of give you a gist of mine. So obviously going to go into here, I'm going to put Blood Drinker to get that fortification with blood orbs. You get those for free just by spamming your attack. It's crazy. You're pretty much always having fortify. There should be no time you don't have fortify. If that means you're not attacking, you want to have that because it also amplifies everything here. We're able to get that 20% damage and 200 armor here. We're going to go up, and the first board we're going to take is going to be Blood Begets Blood. I'm not taking it. I'm actually going here to get the socket, get amplify. The Amplify is going to give us some chunky overpower damage off of these nodes. as well as damage while picking up a blood orb, which we're doing every second anyways. I don't want to go too in detail that you guys kind of look at. You can pause the video if you need to. Going up here, blood orb healing, obviously. Second board we're going into is going to be bloodbath. Easy call, attacks that guarantee overpower, deal another 50% multiplicative overpower damage. Obviously for here we have the big chunks of overpower all over the place, as well as maximum life, because that's what we want to be able to grab right here. Going up to our third board, it's going to be the Scent of Death. Once again, this is where we're going to do a split on the boards, but the most important thing on here is dominate, and you want to put it in this rotation and right here because you're able to get the most out of it. I'm able to get 320%. This is where you get that crazy burst of damage that comes out, and it's just amazing, bro. Like this is the heartbeat. Like if this can be in the middle of the board, it would make the most sense because it's the heartbeat of the build. We're gonna scale off to here. So this is where I kind of freestyled. So we'll come back to this one right here. But if you're following your normal track, you want to go to the right, grab this attack speed and the execute non-deletes. This board is gonna be the flesh eater. We're not touching this. I'm not even touching this glyph socket. It's gonna throw somebody off. I know they're gonna say it. Reason is because I want to save my points to go down here so I can grab aggression, grab this overpower damage. It's just chunky amounts of overpower damage. Mind you, a lot of the damage zones don't do damage for us the way the overpower damage is, so we're grabbing this. And instead of grabbing a socket right here, I opted to go for utility. So what I mean by that is I went into a random board, which is the bone, if I think of this build, I'm tripping, here we go. The bone graft, and it's not to grab anything bone related, it's only to grab the maximum health and armor, because maximum health does scale into your overpower damage. And I also creep down here. Now this is kind of important. Remember how I told you guys on my character I ran the attack speed instead of a regenerator? This is where I pull my regenerator, so I put on reinvigorate. You get maximum essence and essence on kill. Pretty much is 3, 4. You get 4 essence on kill. That's like equivalent to CCing an enemy with the ring regenerator, and I think I can kill enemies a lot easier than CC them. So that's where I take this right here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Going down to my overpower damage, I'm at 2037. This is the part that I've kind of toned it down. I've gotten it as high as 2200, but I've kind of scaled it to try to work out some of the kinks, that the weaknesses it does have, and this is what I landed on. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want some more build videos, let me know. Yeah, I just dropped this thing because I've been having fun with it, and I just want to be able to share the people who probably wanted to try a different build other than like Bone Spear or Infinimus that everybody's grabbing. So thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Your boy is out.